Hello everybody and welcome to Blender to Unity 3D Game Engine Lecture 1. Welcome to the new course as well for everyone, and this is a continuation course from Blender Basics. So 1 credit points for this and also 1 credit points for Blender. If you are familiar with Blender before, you can hop into Unity right away, but it's highly recommended to have also the Blender course here. My name is Juho Kastenmaa, I'm Master of Science, and I'm teaching these 4 lectures of Blender for you. And today we are gonna talk a little bit about Unity 3D game engine, and then the next lecture we're gonna go with the Unity and Blender combination. Alright, so basically Unity is a cross-platform game engine, which means that it works with several computing platforms. For example, you can quite easily build games for Android, iOS, or for PC or Apple environments. Of course, they all have different kinds of systems. So it requires a separate build for many platforms. So after working with Unity, after that you can build your games for a platform, and it's the purpose of this development exercise. And those platforms are, for example, Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS. And those builds are the ones that are being opened by the gamer or the user of that application. So you can just double click the exe file, for example, for PC, and then start using the actual program. Unity is a professional tool as well as Blender. Unity is also sort of in the industry standard. So it's used in many industries, also outside gaming, such as experiences, showcasing your work or models, automotive, manufacturing, cinematics, engineering, and construction. And you can have the Unity student or personal edition for free. And after you get certain amount of money on your development, you can upgrade it to Plus or Pro. Basically, it doesn't have many more elements into it, maybe few, but if you are kind of professional developer, you need the Plus or Pro. But for now, student and personal edition is nice. It's excellent for creating quick applications, gamify them, or create prototype or experience and showcase them quickly, or send it to your client or so on. Also, I didn't mention that, but Blender has also a game engine, but it's meant for 3D modeling mostly. So this is kind of the Unity unites everything. So all of the assets, all of the models, music, everything goes together in Unity. Basically, video, 3D models, animations, textures, materials together, all goes to Unity package, and then you can use them in your game, whatever you want, also scripting and programming. Also, Unity has a big community like Blender, so many tutorial videos on YouTube, lynda.com, anything. Unity is quite big also in movie industry. So just recently I recognized that this Unity acquired Veta Digital Artists tools, which is quite big acquirement. So Veta Digital is the one behind this ape movie, whatever, Lord of the Rings, and many others. So basically, you will be able to use these artist tools in Unity in the future or even now. And here I have image of Dodo Adventure VR game on Steam that I created, and its theme, it's available there. It also have VR tools built in, so you can kind of investigate your object or world or gamify or play the game 3D environment in this game too. And everything is made with Unity and Blender in my game. So the structure of this module is 4 lectures that are about 20 to 30 minutes long. So what's everything if you want to get kind of the basic of learning how to make these environments and getting something out from Unity and Blender use. So Blender course is the base course of this. It's 1 ETCS, and then Unity course is kind of continuation course, which is also 1 ETCS. So today we're gonna go the introduction to Unity game engine and the UI. The next lecture gonna be preparing your 3D models from Blender to Unity. Then basics of level design and lighting. And then the last is your main exercise and your actual build is working with Unity 3D models in Unity and building an experience to a target platform. This might be a big work for you, but it's actually really quick way and very efficient way of doing it. So it's not the big effort to getting to the building thing. Then we have also YAM key extra tasks if you have already completed a AM key. So Blender modifiers in Unity research paper has to be written in order to get those credits. So learning objectives on the course content is to learn to bring 3D models to Unity game engine from Blender, getting familiar with Unity user interface, learning the basics of lighting and visual editing in Unity, and then building for your target platform plus final workshop task, which is going to be pass or fail. Requirements for this is also similar to Blender. So you need a Blender 1.3.1 or newer. Sorry, and I highly recommend you to have a mouse. And have a PC or Mac with GPU. This is not very required with GPU, so graphical user interface, but it makes your development a little bit more comfortable and you don't have to worry about so much about the processing power. External screen for lectures, it's not required, but it's easier to kind of quickly go through like this between your lectures, so have a separate screen helps. Hopefully you have already downloaded Unity long-term support, so LTS release. So 2021.3.1 F1 is the one that I'm using right now, or newer. LTS, because it's long-term support and it's kind of professional environment that doesn't change the components so much. So if you are using LTS release, it's probably better to use this LTS one. And okay, I don't know how to make it, but I'll find a way attitude. So a lot of information is in Google, but the basics you get from here really easily. But if you want to specify some of your knowledge, there are plenty of courses, and hopefully in the future like kind of these Design Factory courses as well. Okay, so getting familiar with the Unity 3D game engine, and let's set up your project a little bit and let's open up your Unity game engine. So first, when you are creating your project, you should see this. Actually, if I go to File and go to New Project, you should see this kind of create a new project when you add a new project on your Blender, in your Unity, sorry. So you might use this Unity Hub where you are in control of all versions of your Unity programs, and then you will be able to select the one you are using, because many, if you are working for clients, many clients have a separate version of Unity they are working with, and when you are downloading the new version of Unity, it breaks everything. So sometimes you need to use the same version of Unity, and then this kind of version control is really good. So you click on 3D because we are in 3D world. You can play also, you can build also 2D games if you want, but 3D for now is required for this class, and it's kind of already selected here. And then you select your project name and your location where it goes. So for example, for me, I'm putting my things to my D drive, which is a little bit bigger and has lots of space. So I'm giving it a name, a new location like this, and I'm creating a new folder for everything. So all the models, all the game files goes there, and that's quite big. It might be many gigabytes. But when you build your game, it's gonna pack it so that it's smaller. But actually many games can be even 100 gigabytes big. And then just go ahead and click on create. Just click on cancel because I've already created my project. So here we go. You should see this kind of default view of Unity when you first open your program, but I really like to use this kind of layout. If you go to Windows, Layout, and 2x3 layout, and you click on that, so you get this kind of view. So it's a little bit closer to Blender, so all the settings are on the left, and then the basic scene and the game view is also on the left hand side, and everything here is on the right hand side. And I usually track this project panel to here, just to make this more efficient. And what I also do is I track this small handle here. I track it all the way to the left, so I can see only folders. So if I have many files here, I can see them listed nicely. And then I just can track these things here. A little bit different and cleaner than Blender, because Blender has lots of options here and here and here and here. So it's a little bit, the user interface is a little bit more usable and user-friendly. And you can see here we have different panels. So we have the hierarchy panel, inspector panel. When you click on anything on the hierarchy, that is also on the scene, of course, you can see that the inspector also have elements inside. Then you have the project panel here, that you can see all of your assets and folders. So assets are listed here, like the models and scenes you might have. You might have this sample scene already open, and kind of everything in your folders containing here. And by the way, you in window, if you mistakenly close one of your panels, you can go to Window, Panels, and then you can open the main panels again. So we have like 5 different main panels. It's Game, Hierarchy, Inspector, Project, and Scene. And then here we have the Scene panel. And also we have the 3D world here, and you can't orbit in the same way that in Blender here. but you can kind of use your right click and middle click to kind of go left and right, and also your left click kind of rotating your viewer's view here. Also, we have this kind of axis handles here. So you can, for example, see here that the Z axis is not pointing up in Unity. So it's interestingly Y axis is pointing up, and then X and Z axis is pointing right and left. But that doesn't matter. You just need to remember that in Blender, if you bring some models to Unity, you might see that they are upside down. So there's also a way to fix that. And then lastly, we have this game panel here. So basically, this game panel works only when you click on play. And basically, this game panel is your final product. So if you click on your exe file you created in the end on your desktop, you can click on it, and it kind of clicks play automatically, so it goes to the game. So if I click on play, it's gonna reload some assets. I can't see anything. You can basically see the view from your camera, but you can't move it because we don't have any functionality there yet. You can keep it on playing, but I usually close it like this. So basically, if you create a 3D object, you can see through this camera. So this camera is looking right here, and when you are moving the camera, it should also move the environment, or your camera is moving, and you would kind of see that the environment is also, of course, moving. By the way, if you click on play again and you have moved here, it just stays there where it was before playing. So everything, when you click on play, and if you modify anything on the scene, it just sticks back. Okay, let's delete that one. So first scene, you have only camera, and then you have the directional light. Both of these are needed in order the game to show up. If you disable these using inspector, kind of this tab here, you can see that no cameras are rendering, so you won't see anything. But you can enable it back. Then, like in Blender, we have more basic ways of handling these basic forms. So if you go to hierarchy, then right click, go to 3D object, and then create a cube on your scene, you can see that it comes here. Usually this move tool is already enabled when you create this one, but now we need to learn a couple of hotkeys here. We have all of these hotkeys also on our numpad. If we click on Q, that's gonna be the first one. So that's view tool. So you can go around like this. The same thing happens with your middle mouse button. Then you have W, which is the move tool. So when you click on W, you have this axis and Y axis to move it around your scene. Then you have E, which is the rotate tool. And like in Blender, we have these options here. If you click on, if you hit Control, you can get these kind of snapping options available. You have R, that is scale tool. It's not rotate in Unity, it's scale tool, and here you will be able to scale and experiment with your cube. You also have T, which is a rect tool, so you will be able to build some walls or whatever in a different way. Really useful sometimes. And then you have Y, that is transform tool, which is basically combining everything. So Blender has this as well. So you can move or scale or whatever, everything combined. And then lastly, you have U. No, actually there's no hotkey for that, but you have the bounding volume. So basically every object you create in Unity have this kind of bounding box collider. So it means that if the player goes close to your object, it's actually bounding around this invisible box. So you won't, for example, if you're a player, you won't be able to touch the cube if the bounding box is something like that. It's very useful for walls and whatever to bring it a little bit up. But we will talk about that maybe later. One of the really useful things is kind of use these quick things. So Q doesn't do anything. So, or tilde key doesn't do anything here. So basically what does is F key. So if you click on F key, it focuses right on your object like this. Okay, then there's another one is H key that hides the cube. So you can see that here this kind of eye icon comes. So that's also really helpful if you are working with different objects and you want to hide them. And then we have also L key. That means no touching. I don't know what's the short name of it, but basically that's really helpful to kind of L them so that you won't be able to touch them. So just click it and hit it again to disable and enable it. And of course here in Inspector you can take it away from the scene and you won't be able to see it again. So that's another way of doing these things. So if you're building many objects and they are above each other, that might be helpful. And also Control S is to save your scene, and it saves automatically here. Okay, that's about the first lecture. Play around this scene and then check out these asset folders. You can also show them in Explorer, like right click and show them in Explorer, so you will see for example your models folder here in Explorer. When you put models here, it automatically goes to Unity as well. And here is scenes folder as well, and then package folder contains all of your kind of packages from package manager, and if you want to have assets which you can download from asset store from Unity, for some of them are free and some of them are paid. So it's very easy to start your game. It's just building a game using prefabs and ready-made assets, and then just drag and drop them like this to your scene. Just dragging and dropping them and then playing. So you will be able to build fast your prototypes and so on. Okay, and next up we're gonna bring those Blender models to Unity and prepare them. So to the next lecture. Thank you.